I want to take a couple of minutes and look at the bigger picture. So first we'll zoom in. Realize that nutrition plays a huge role in providing the components that are necessary for epigenetics. So remember, epigenetics is how we control gene expression. And so you don't always want your genes turned on, right? You need to be able to turn them off at some point. Well, you need the resources to do that. And again, folate and folic acid play a huge role in this by donating the methyl groups, but also all these other vitamins and minerals play a big role too. Here's what a life course view of a micronutrient deficiency would look like. And so if a pregnant woman, right, is deficient in nutrients, then the baby is going to have certain hormonal adaptations. They're going to have epigenetic gene regulations, and all of these might lead to a restricted fetal growth and development. So this prenatal exposure to a nutritional deficiency is going to basically program their body to be prepared to be born in a state where there is a deficiency. And the issue comes whenever they're born in a place like the United States, where we have an excess of things, right? Because then their body almost can't handle it. And this is what we see. And so we might see impaired renal function. We definitely see an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, an increased risk of diabetes, a change in the body composition. And remember, this is going to play a role in the way that your body metabolizes things. We also have an effect on the pulmonary function because of malformations, or things just didn't, form the way that they could have. And so this leads to cardiometabolic risk. And we'll talk about this a little bit more when we talk about epigenetics, but this is what the life course looks like, how, your mom's micronutrient deficiency might have increased your rate of heart disease. The other interesting thing that impacts nutritional quality is climate change. So as the atmospheric CO2 increases, the levels of protein and micronutrients in crops decrease. And we've seen proof of that. And we expect to see more proof of that. And so what does this mean? Well, think of what this means in terms of like how expensive food is, how much we will need to, consume to be able to even meet our nutritional status. And here are some of the essential minerals that are affected. So as there is a change in mean concentration of CO2, or a change in the concentration of these minerals and proteins, you see compared to like levels today, right? So the level in 2014 was 399 parts per million in terms of the CO2 concentration. And so what does that mean when the CO2 concentration is 689 parts per million? And this is projected, like this level is projected to occur before 2050. So not very long from now. So in 20 years from now, 25 years from now, this is what the nutritional status of our food is going to be like. We are going to have, almost 16% less nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, and then also the amount of protein that's in our main crops, right, is going to decrease. And so what does this mean for our nutritional status in the future? The other way that climate change impacts nutritional status, increasing temperatures and increasing precipitation can increase the pathogen load, meaning that you have a increased chance of getting sick, like a diarrhea or vomiting kind of illness when you eat. It can also alter weed, insect, and fungal populations. And then that, in response to that, we'll have to use increased pesticide use, which already has horrible effects on our, endocrine system. Rising carbon dioxide can influence the nutritional content of foods. We already talked about that. Warmer temperatures can result in greater food spillage. So now not only are our foods more likely to be like infected, full of pesticides with lower nutritional quantities, but we also probably are going to waste more, right? And then that's also going to impact food distribution, right? And so this isn't going to affect people equally. People who are already struggling to get access to healthy foods are going to struggle even more. And note that this like food spoilage is probably going to have a positive effect in terms of like just making things worse, because that also contributes to climate change. So if you're interested, on slide 72, there's a bunch of links to really cool stories about how we discovered, some of these nutritional deficiencies, and what we did about them, but totally optional.